a disrespect to the fans, a mess, an embarrassment. These are some of the words that could be used to describe what happened to the Terminator franchise over the years. So folks, I'm Gabriel, this is Anonymous Studios, and this video will try to answer why such a revolutionary franchise ended up with movies hated by fans and a much lower popularity than before.
But as hard as I try.
Well guys, I'm going to start our analysis from the third movie. Why on earth did the third movie disappoint? If we look at it from the fans' perspective, there would be several reasons. The simple fact that James Cameron wasn't here already gave many people chills at the time. Linda Hamilton wasn't in it either. Add to that the casting choices, which were terrible. And now, let's get to the points that didn't just displease the fans. For example, Nick Stahl as John Connor and Moira Harris as Betsy were embarrassing choices. Comment below if you think this is the worst John Connor in the franchise. A John Connor who isn't a tough guy, who isn't resilient, he's weak, annoying, and depressing. Like, what exactly did Sarah Connor train this kid for in the second movie? There's another fact that destroys what was done in the previous films. Add to that the change in tone. In the first and second movies, especially the second, we had strong themes like destiny, free will, and the nature of humanity. T3, on the other hand, brought less philosophical depth and tried to introduce a more comedic tone. I say tried because there are many moments in it that are just cringe-worthy, like the scenes of the Terminator wearing those glasses, which displeased a part of the audience, the unnecessary silicone, and so on.
"2,000 years later."
Talk to the hand.
So it was a series of mistakes that made movie 3 so detestable, but not everything is bad here. The concept of the TX itself is good. It's a shame it wasn't used well, but the concept itself is cool. Apparently it was based on her that they had the idea to create the Rev 9 in the last movie. Another thing I really liked here was the ending, which many people say they don't like, but I liked it, okay? I thought the idea that John must lead humanity in the future was cool, and that Judgment Day must happen for him to save humanity. What do you think? Comment. Despite many not liking this ending, it was what set the stage for one of the best movies in the franchise. Terminator 4 for me is one of the best movies in the franchise, second only to the second one, and a lot of people today say this movie didn't deserve to do so poorly at the box office. And honestly, if we stop to think about it, we had the fossing Christian Bale as John Connor, a John Connor who shows up at the beginning of the movie shooting and jumping into an abyss without any fear. The first time I saw that scene, I almost had an orgasm. The film's aesthetic is interesting, and the story itself is too. We see how people praise John Connor at the same time that there seems to be something special that protects him. This is something that many fans have created a myth around. Just as there is the myth of Batman's invincibility, we'd have the myth of John Connor's invincibility. But we also see a part of the humans who refuse to fight, as they see the struggle against the machines as impossible. Now the question is, how did a movie like this fail? I've seen many people say it was because of the aesthetics, that people expected to see a future similar to the flashbacks that Kyle Reese had in the first movie, or the others in the second, with plasma guns and all, and we didn't see that. And I disagree with that idea. I think the movie adopted this aesthetic because we are, in fact, in the future, but it's not the future we saw months or days before Judgment Day. We already have powerful machines out there, but we don't have plasma guns or a dark, somber sky. The movie doesn't fail to show that what we see is the Earth a few years after Judgment Day and the rise of John Connor. I see that the movie didn't do well because of a mistake that the third movie also made. The people who watched Terminator back then wanted to see John Connor, Sarah Connor, and the T-800 played by Arnold Schwarzenegger again. Just like I really want to see you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you want more nerd stuff videos and fan-made content from me, like what I'm doing with the Justice League, by the way, I stopped making fan trailers to start working on this, hit the like button and subscribe. This boosts the channel a lot, it helps me a lot with my work, and it will make it so that other people like you can find this kind of content. So do what I said and comment on what you think of the video. I'm even accepting constructive criticism.
Be back like this video, and I'll be back.
Returning to our analysis, the movie also had some poor casting choices. We had Marcus Wright, played by Sam Worthington, who honestly wasn't connected to the character. At least that was my impression. Seriously, he seemed dead in that role. Maybe this came from some direction guidance. Maybe the director told him to act that way because he was half machine. It makes sense. Aside from these small details, there was a lack of communication between what the audience wanted and the movie that was presented. Maybe if the film's marketing had been different, communicating the idea of making a trilogy, then this flop could have been avoided. But nothing could be done about this flop. Halcyon Company, the company behind this work, went bankrupt, the most recent films. Well, here we have 2 more movies in the franchise, which not only repeat the mistake of the previous films, a mistake that has been present since the 3rd movie, but made it even worse. Suddenly, someone had the idea of turning the symbol of hope and care for humanity into the last hope of the apocalypse. That in itself is terrible. For some, this would be comparable to turning Batman into a murderer. We saw that kind of happen with Ben Affleck's Batman, and many people didn't like it, although I think there's an explanation for it. Now here, things get worse. They turned John Connor into a Terminator. Not only that, but in both Terminator Genisys and Dark Fate, we have a beautiful absence of character depth and even legacy. The events of the 2nd movie were nullified with the arrival of the last one, and if they had at least done it in a way that gave new meaning to John Connor's legacy, like Nolan did with Batman, where Batman's fight for justice and the challenges he faced against the Joker were nullified with the chaos brought by Bane. But in the end, Bruce reemerges and manages to become what he so wanted, a symbol of hope. Here, everything was lost. The future that John tried to avoid is going to happen, just with a different name. This destroys the aura that John had, because now there is always a character who can replace him, even if it's a dwarf who doesn't even have the strength to hold a machine gun properly. Well guys, so the video doesn't end on a low note. Maybe we still have some hope. James Cameron has already given some signs that he might return to direct a movie in the franchise. Many people say that for him to come back with a good movie, he has to abandon characters like Sarah Connor, the Arnold T-800, and even John Connor. But I'm going against that. After all, this entire video has put forward the thesis that the main reason the franchise went down the drain was the fact that the creators didn't listen to what the fans wanted. So I think it is still possible to make a good movie with the classic characters, and despite everything, I still have faith in this franchise. But what about you? Do you agree or not? Comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe to push this nerd talk to all of YouTube. Oh, and I'm starting to produce some scenes for the fan film that I'm gonna make of the Justice League, which I will post here. So subscribe so you don't miss anything, and see ya